All right, here's a few news stories that caught my attention. Couple of them. All right. Apple apparently broke Java in the latest update. I think I put on the latest update, and I didn't see a problem, but I don't think I've used Java in a while. But they say any memory access failure kills the thread. So anyway, I'm not quite sure I know enough about Java to wonder why this was, to understand this in detail. But apparently Apple did break Java, so I guess there'll be another update coming, and if you're a Java user, that may matter to you. Let's see if this is the same one or what. Yeah, this one was pretty amazing. Elsevier is the reason why scientific journals are so expensive. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see if that happens to you with Mac and Java. Anyway, so Elsevier is, I used to be at big shot colleges with these fancy journals, and the journals cost like $10,000 a year to subscribe, and to publish a paper you have to pay like $1,000 to publish your paper in the journal, and so nobody can see them except people at big expensive colleges. They're not available to the general public, which a lot of people are pretty upset about. I mean, the public through their taxes fund this research, and then they can't even see the results. And it also feeds into this general ivory tower elite stuff where only the special people are smart enough to read these papers, and we don't want normal people trying to read them because they're too dumb to understand them. Anyway, but they claim, just like Apple with the App Store, that all that money pouring into them is necessary to maintain their high quality of papers. And this guy demonstrates yet another example of what happened many times. This is an AI-generated nonsense. This is a paper they accepted. They have this process called peer review, where people who are publishing papers also have to volunteer their time to review other people's papers. And the idea is there are so few experts in the field that only those people could possibly judge the paper. But in practice, obviously, a lot of them are not reading the papers and just saying, okay, because this one here is completely AI generated. And even if you couldn't tell that because it's all full of technical terms, you could just go down here where it says, I'm very sorry, but I don't have access to real-time information as I am an AI language model. So they left that stuff in there and went through all their review process and published. And he said this happens all the time. So an increasing number of scientists are trying to publish in open access journals. I remember when I moved into computer security from where I had been before, which was computer brain modeling, that was I wondered if I should try to get back into these academic journals. And I realized, in my opinion, these academic journals are not really the leaders in the industry anymore. The leaders is like DEF CON, and people that just do things and report it directly to the community, make products. I moved over into the for-profit arm kind of. That's where I think the real work is done. Although there's still academic work that's valuable in its own way, but I think the most exciting stuff in security happens in the commercial space from startups and such. And they just present the results at DEF CON. You just put it on a blog, people comment on it. And so I never went back to academic journals, but I'm not trying to get a job at UC Berkeley anymore. The due date of the final exam, we just need it by the end of the semester, that's all. So we left the final exam available until the end of the semester. That's all we did there. All right, good. Of course, in this class, there's not for any credit anyway, so it doesn't exactly matter. So there's a poll on public perceptions in securing critical infrastructure, and I thought it was interesting. I might have thought that this is an esoteric topic that normal people don't think about, but apparently it's not. Apparently, plenty of normal people understand that they need their power plants and their water plants and their aircraft control towers to work. So they say people are concerned, but homeowners, urban residents, and people over the age of 27 are the most concerned. They're mainly concerned about cyber terror attacks, terrorism, and aging. So then they say mostly believe the federal government should bear responsibility for fortifying the infrastructure. And, that all sounds pretty good. So it's a thing to know. These news stories have really apparently gained traction with normal people about the fact that people are hacking our infrastructure, it's not safe, and we have to improve it. So that's good. I'm thinking the correct name for this course, if I ever get it as an official course, should probably be Securing Critical Infrastructure. That's probably a better name than Operational Technology. That would communicate to people what's really going on here better. So the Europeans have approved the first comprehensive AI law. There's a lot of talk about AI security in America, but most of the proposals don't seem to really make any sense, and I don't think they'll go anywhere because the tech lobbies are so powerful in America that there can be essentially no tech regulation of any kind. Yeah, good, okay. And anyway, they've made a law which they say will make the tech more human-centric. And there's an article here that talks more about what it does. They say emotion recognition is banned, which I know is something I heard the Chinese using maybe 5 years ago in stores. They would have to go past a camera and it would decide if your smile was good enough. And if your smile wasn't good enough, then they would pop up a light telling you have to smile more. You have to smile better. So they have strict rules on biometric use, and they have conditions under which the AI system would trigger a high-risk designation if it's employed in educational sector, critical infrastructure, justice, and democratic processes. So this sounds kind of reasonable. And when they're high risk, it will have to meet mandatory requirements like risk management, data quality, transparency, human oversight, and accuracy. So overall, it sounds pretty good. The log issue is the kind of thing a lot of people worry about for privacy, but they say they must record each use of the system and the reference database, the input data, and the identifications of natural persons involved in verification of the results for 6 months. So it'll be interesting to see how difficult that is to perform. And but this does seem, especially this part where you have to identify what real persons verified the results. This is, I think, addressing the big problem that I haven't heard any legislators really get into before, which is the number one flaw in AI that I see is that it so often is wrong. It hallucinates, it's wrong, and people trust it. And so they're going to basically force you to have humans verify the results and record that humans did verify the results, and they know who, so they can check with them later to see if they really did. So that would greatly increase the expense of AI systems, but it would probably improve them. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here. Anyway, this does seem like a very interesting step forward in AI regulation. Europe is at the leader of all tech and internet regulation for quite a while. So Windows Update will not install with strange error. You have to install another Windows Update first, which is not obvious. It would probably take forever to verify everything. Well, you wonder. That's why when you pass a law like this, nobody knows how it's going to turn out in practice. However, as you probably can guess, my immediate answer would be, you just have an AI check through the log, right? That would be the obvious way to do it. When our college had an accreditation crisis about 10 years ago, it was politically motivated and fake, so they just ordered us to close without any explanation of what we could do to fix it. So the college committees independently made up like 150 improvements in our process that we implemented, and that basically involved all of us filling out a whole bunch of really onerous forms, which we filled out for like 2 years, and then they pointed out, nobody's actually reading those forms. So they had a special meeting where we had to read the forms from other departments, just so they could say somebody read them. And the whole process was generally fake like that, but it did serve as sort of political cover for a political leader to force them to approve the accreditation of the college. So it was a strange situation where we did something that didn't make any sense, but the fact that we had done something could be used as a political excuse to let us continue running the college. So when you do things just for show, sometimes that matters. Anyway,